Before the game yesterday, I had my reservation as to how well we had prepared for the season. I didn't necessarily like how we played in the preseason. I didn't think we did anything different from how we played last season. But then again, I understood the fact that the World Cup had a lot of impact as to how well we could prepare because the World Cup would generally affect everything around it. The World Cup affects the transfer market. It affects performances on the pitch because we had players who were going to come later on in the preseason because their country had gone far into the competition. Players like Saka, Wise, Odegaard, Merino, Zubimendi, Wire, all of these players came late on into the preseason. And I think that generally affected how we played because it wasn't just an Arsenal thing. Aside from City, I think most big teams in the league all struggled doing with their preseason. And I felt like we were not necessarily ready going into the season. But every doubt I had kind of disappeared 23 seconds into the game yesterday when Calafiori got his goal. And it kind of took my mind back to last season. It took my mind to the Carabao Cup final, to the game at the Etihad where we lost both games. And the major complaint people had was with regards to how we didn't necessarily have any ambition or aggression in any of those performances. We're very stale and we tried to defend as well as we could and counter them or beat them on the counter, which didn't necessarily happen. None of those complaints could be had yesterday because from the very first kick of the game, we were aggressive. Even before we stepped into the pitch, the team sheet itself was aggressive in its own. The combination of Bruno G, Lewis Kelly, Odegaard is probably the most progressive and vertical midfield combination we have in the team. Having White and Calafiori as the attacking fullback also will show our intent throughout that game yesterday. And it was so clear. And it made sense we got our goal as early as we did because we know we've seen this before. This is not the first time where we come into the game and we just go very aggressive. If we go back to the 22-23 season, we got a lot of early goals because of how aggressive and open we played. I know because of how that season ended, Arteta kind of amended how we played going forward. We became a bit more reserved. We became a bit more conscious and not just going gung-go for the most part of it. But most of the conversation that's been had at the back of last season, coming into the preseason, was around the fact that Arteta had won the Premier League. We had won the Premier League. Maybe coming into this season, it was going to take away the handbrake and allow us to play freely. And if there's any game that is going to exhibit how well we can play when Arteta takes away the handbrake, it's the game yesterday. Yes, City were not at their best. Their midfield wasn't good enough compared to us, but we imposed ourselves, which is not something we did a lot of last season, particularly in the midfield. And if you've seen any of my video, or generally within the fan base, we were all so happy when we got Bruno G because what we saw yesterday is just something we're going to see more of because of who the player is. We know how aggressive he plays. We know how comfortable he is in the midfield. We know how vertical he goes with his passes. And we saw all of this yesterday. That midfield was arguably the best I've seen in a long time. It was just so fluid. There was no structured position. There was no one being the standard number 6 or the left 8 or the right 8. Every one of them interchanged their position, particularly between Bruno G and Lewis Kelly. There were times when Lewis Kelly was the deepest midfielder, and there were other times when Lewis Kelly was the one providing the assists to a goal. That was how well they were playing. And if anyone had told me that, oh, Bruno G has been in Arsenal for the last 3 years, I would not have doubt if I'd never seen any Arsenal game because of how well he combined. We should be scary because this is like his first competitive game with Arsenal and his performance was already showing. And he didn't even have like a standout or spectacular performance. He was just doing those things we've kind of missed since Partey left the team. I know Zubimendi was supposed to come in and do do most of these progressive passes and vertical passes that we lacked. I know he did his best, but for the most part, Zubimendi had not replaced what we lost from Partey. Now I can comfortably say that with Bruno G coming into the midfield, he's going to bring most of what we had with Partey and even more. And that's always my been the biggest reason I wanted him to play, because he can combine so well with any combination of midfield you put him in. And I feel like there's going to be a point this season where the conversation is going to be, what's our best midfield combination? Is it going to be Wise, Bruno G, Odegaard, or Bruno G, Lewis Kelly, and Odegaard? Like, we have so much options that I don't think we're going to play any midfield in the league that is going to be better than ours at any point this season, regardless of whatever business tends to be done between now and the end of the season. That is how much faith I have in that midfield. And it was not just the midfield that contributed to how well we kept the ball. Like I said, having attacking fullbacks in White and Calafuri really, really helped the team. We all saw it with the goal Calafuri scored. And we also how much White bumped forward yesterday. It kind of brought back that combination we used to have between Partey, Odegaard, Saka, and White. We saw most of it yesterday, even though most of the space White created for Noni Madueke, it didn't necessarily do much with it. But imagine Saka was the one getting a lot of the space, and see how much damage he's going to do. I really hope this is going to be the season where Saka and also Odegaard find their form from 18 months ago, because Odegaard yesterday was the best we've seen from him in a very, very long time. And he's glad to see that he's having fun playing the game. And this is just a continuation of his World Cup performance where he dominated the midfield for Norway. And I feel like as long as he manages to stay fit, he is going to find his form. The same also applies with Saka, because I feel like their form goes hand in hand. If Odegaard is playing as well as he can, he's going to improve how well Saka can play, because the reverse of this can be said with how much we've seen from how poorly Saka has been in the last, I wouldn't necessarily say poorly, but how not so good Saka has been, because he has not necessarily had White behind him or Odegaard at his best close to him. You need to put him in this system to get the best out of him. And I feel like we're going to see more of that this season. And that Odegaard goal was just so great to see. It kind of reminded me of the Ozil goal against Ludogorets in the Champions League. I think that was like 2016. If I'm even remembering properly, that was because Kazula provided the assist for Ozil to score that goal, where he kind of sat the keeper down before shipping the goalkeeper to score the goal. I think that was Kazula's last assist for us now. Yeah, I'm very sure that was Kazula's last assist for us, because as soon as he made that pass, he got injured and got subbed out, and we didn't see him again after that game in an Arsenal shirt. That goal was just so great. It just brought back memory of the Ozil goal. Even the Kanuanko goal against Deportivo, like this was way back then. That was just how much I had. That was just how much fun I had yesterday watching Odegaard play, because it just reminded me of some of our best Arsenal goals from years past. And I feel like as long as he's fit and happy, he's going to cause a lot of damage. But I know the midfield is like the focus of my discussion today, because I feel like we have the best defense and now we have like the best midfield in the league. And while our attack has been underrated, I've been very impressed with what I've been seeing from Solis. I think yesterday game with his 2 assists makes it a one of 19 games where he has had a goal contribution, either by scoring or providing an assist in 19 straight goals. Not to talk about all of the output he had in Belgium for the last season. It feels like most of his skills, most of his ability are going to be able to transition into this league because he's not a physical player. He's not a player that relies on pace or his physicality like, for instance, a Gyökeres did back when he was in Portugal. So when we were signing Gyökeres to Arsenal, most fans kind of had reservation as to how well that was going to translate because the Premier League is way too physical for you to get away with all those things Gyökeres did in Portugal. That's not the same with Solis. Solis' game feels more transferable because it does things quicker, it does things more effective, doesn't waste time, makes his decision quickly. That assist to Odegaard for the third goal, it was it just felt simple but yet very effective. We've seen situations where players in that situation would take one more dribble, we try to go to the byline before pulling the ball back. Sometimes just cross the ball when you see your teammates in the box. And that was what it did. Simple but effective. And I feel like most people did not know who this guy was before yesterday. Even though we've seen him in preseason, a lot of Arsenal fans fully came to appreciate the talent we saw his has. Yes, it's just one game. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but I do feel like at this point in time, I am happy. And if he can manage to continue his performances so far, he's probably going to be the best signing of the summer. Finger crossed, I do hope it continues. And talking about signings in general, or just the transfer market in general, one of the things that was very obvious with yesterday's game was the fact that Martinelli, Jesus, and Iwanere did not make the team sheet. We've seen this speculation from fans. For some player, it is understandable. For a player like Jesus, you probably wouldn't make any team sheet because it is expected that he's to leave the team. And for Martinelli and Iwanere, we've heard rumors of Martinelli turning down a deal to Galatasaray or to Turkey, which is right to do. If you don't want to go somewhere, you don't have to go. And I do feel like, or I hope that this is not some form of message being sent by Arteta that you are not needed in the team. Because in as much as I feel like Martinelli should have been replaced like a year or two ago, I don't think this is the right way to go about it. He has given us everything we can ask from him. He has given us what his talents can give. He's not the most talented player, but he works hard for the team. He contributes where he can. And I don't want to feel like this is Arteta sending a message. But then again, it's hard not to look at it from the angle because even in the preseason games that Martinelli played, he had very few minutes in so many of these games. And him not even making the bench yesterday was, I do feel it was a bit unfair because, yes, we need to move on some players. Yes, if we get a substantial amount that the club feels meets his valuation, they are going to sell him. But I don't think we should be leaving him off the bench. Yes, that bench was very stacked yesterday, and some first team key players are always going to be let out of the bench. But Martinelli should not be one of them. And however we decide to handle his business this summer, I hope for the best for Martinelli and for the club in general. I don't want us treating players this way. Anyways, it's still all speculation at this point in time. But if there's any speculation to believe more on, it has to be Iwanere. Because we've heard Arteta speak on the fact that, yes, we want to keep him as a club, but at the same time, we need to do the best for this player. And the best right now is looking more likely would be to move him, would be to move on from him. I don't want us to sell him. And if we're going to sell him, I do want us to have like a buyback clause in that deal because I feel like he is very talented. I feel like he has so much he can offer. He's just a very difficult situation right now because now the club sees him as the number 10. We have Odegaard and we have Eze. Where's he going to get the game time from? Even if you say you want to play him on the white, we have Saka, we have Noni Madueke, we have Dalman. Yes, you can make an argument that one away has given us more than we've had from Noni Madueke or maybe even from Dalman, even though, yeah, you can make the argument. But the point right now is those players are favored ahead of him. And I do feel like, and I do really hope that we don't sell him. That's where I am. And if we're going to sell him, a buyback clause should be in. At this very moment, I would set it for a loan. Loaning him and let's make this decision next summer. Let's see how well he can perform. So it's a bit tricky with regards to sales. And because of how well we played yesterday, have had some fun say, oh, we don't need transfer, we don't need these, or we are very okay with what we have at the moment. We didn't have Saliba, we didn't have Timber, we didn't have Wise or Saka starting the game, and we went on to dominate City. But then my question to them will be, what happens right now if, God forbid, White picks up an injury or Mosquera picks up an injury? What are we going to play in this position? So at the very least, we need a defender that can play both positions. We need a left winger if we're going to be moving on from Martinelli. And as well as Solis has been so far in his short Arsenal career, I do feel we need something else. Again, what if he picks up an injury? What are we going to do? Play Eze in that position? Like, yes, that's going to work. But then again, you're going to be having just Odegaard has the 10 option or maybe Merino. It's very tricky. But we have so much depth and so much talent where I feel like we can manage most of this situation. But I do feel like we need to get a defender. That's one I don't see how we're going to do it because we don't know where Saliba is going to come back. We don't know where Timber is going to come back. So we, at the very least, need a defender. And I feel like we need an attacker. I don't know who the attacker is going to be. We've been rumored to signing Osimhen. Yes, if we get Osimhen, how are we going to have Osimhen, Gyökeres, and Kai Havertz? Two of them feel like the same kind of player, even though I rate Osimhen way more than I rate Gyökeres. But the point is, their qualities, their skill set, the things they do very well are way too similar to each other. So, as much as I like as much as I would like Osimhen to play for us now, I don't really think he's the best profile to fit us right now. I wanted Alvarez. I don't know what's happening there with Alvarez, but imagine having a player like Alvarez. Just imagine how much our technical level, which is already high, at this point is going to increase. Imagine how much fluid we are going to become having a player like that. We saw Kai Havertz perform yesterday. We've seen the best of Kai Havertz, and yesterday was a glimpse as to how much he can play or how well he helps us play because of the fact that he's able to drop into the midfield. He's able to play the first nine role way better than Gyökeres can play. Now imagine having Alvarez who can do that job way better than Kai can do. It's just going to make our team so much better. But then I don't see that happening at this point in time. So, again, the league starts on Friday. At home at the Emirates, I expect us to get 3 points there. I expect us to ease in players like Rice and Saka into the team. And we go from there. But I do feel like we need something. I don't want us to leave anything to chance going into the season. Given the various stages most of our competitors are at this point in time, I feel we have an opportunity to go back to back in the league, something we've not done since 1935 or so. That's a long time ago that's a long time ago to now have won the league back to back. I feel this is the perfect opportunity. This is the perfect team. We just need one or two more signings and we are ready to go back to back and even challenge for the Champions League final. But anyways, that's my these are just my ramblings and my opinion so far. If you do like anything, please leave a like, leave a comment. It's a very small channel. At this point in time, I'm more focused on getting a consistency in making my videos rather than getting likes and stuff like that. But it kind of encourage you to know that, oh, there's someone there who kind of liked your video, if that makes any sense. But anyways, that's all you're getting from me today. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Thank you very much.